Nice.
I will let Melanie speak.
Yeah, so today we have Sam on sharing some stories about your life, about all the different trials and tribulations that you've...
It's a good word.
Yeah, I know. I literally just thought of it. Thank you. Well, I mean, like, I knew it before. But yeah, of just like basically coming out as non-binary, all the different kind of like things that you've had to go through with family, friendships, identity. And so, yeah, we're diving into what it's like what the process was like finding your identity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
So yeah.
Should I just dive in or?
Well, I wanted to kind of like start the episode by asking, what does cisgender mean, and kind of like explaining genders in a way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Good.
I can do that. Okay, so cisgender is somebody who, when you're assigned as your sex at birth, so usually it's like what you've got in your pants, basically. So
Yeah.
if you're born a boy, like a male, then if you're cisgender, you've just always vibed with that, and you've always been pretty cool with being a guy. But being like transgender is when you are a different identity than what you were assigned when you were born. Not all people like a vibe with being called trans, but it's kind of lots of people like lots of different terms because they're all
Yeah.
labels at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I would identify with trans, but I identify a lot more with being non-binary.
Okay,
Nice.
and what's non-binary?
So non-binary is basically like I don't feel like I fit in with the two binary genders that usually Western society has like said, this is a man, this is a woman, or a boy and a girl. And non-binary can mean so many things though. It doesn't mean not having a gender. It doesn't mean like being androgynous, even though I do look a bit androgynous. Just don't mind me. Because you get lots of
I wish I knew what that meant.
Well, no, it's like David Bowie, he's very feminine and masculine.
Yeah.
Or you get those models
yeah.
who you're like, that could totally be a man, that could totally be a woman, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
So it's
for
kind of like
sure.
crossing the vibes.
Boundaries,
Yeah.
that society created for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, so a lot of people think that if you're non-binary, then it must mean that you're not hyper masculine or hyper feminine, but it really doesn't matter because like a lot of people like to play with what that means.
Yeah,
So,
true that.
like I would totally throw on a dress if it was a nice enough dress, you know.
Yeah.
And you get lots of people who they just do what they're comfortable with, but being non-binary is more. It's more just like you just don't feel like what society's telling you. Like you're meant to be a boy, you're meant to behave this way, dress this way, get these kind of jobs. Same with being a woman.
Yeah.
And it's great. I like it. I think it's great. I think it should appeal to more. Not that you can make people feel that way. Obviously, like people just are who they are. But I do think that it's a great thing because it makes you think. It just makes you think about the way that like things are constructed. You know, like who decided that this has to be this way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like who, at one point like guys with long hair, that was all guys looked like. Every guy looked
That's
like
so true.
Looked like all the guys from Lord of the Rings. That's literally
Fucking
what
love
guys
that
looked
film.
at like all the time.
Yeah.
And then times changed, things happened, fashion a lot of the time changed, and then it was kind of this thing where it's like guys only have short hair. So it's just like thinking about the way that we decide like this is right and this is wrong. And non-binary is basically kind of a big part of that, but with gender. Which is
No, that was well
fun.
said.
Thank you.
No, really, really well said.
I mean, if
good explanation.
you're like the only person that I know that could describe it that well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And just to kind of, I guess this could be like an educational thing for a lot of people
Yeah,
that
for
don't know
sure.
about it. So how could somebody ask what your pronouns are and kind of make it comfortable in a conversation,
Yeah.
so you don't, so it's kind of like there's no awkwardness. So
Yeah,
it's kind of
especially
like
your first time meeting someone.
I think it can be awkward because it's not talked about. You know, like when something isn't normalized, it's going to be awkward. And I think the only way to get past that is to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
the best thing to do is, if you don't know somebody's pronouns, is just ask them, and just like in the nicest, simplest way possible, and just be like, or even like a really good way to go about it is say yours first, because then it's like,
I love that.
and it doesn't matter if you're trans or not, like pronouns are just something you should say, because if you know, cisgender people are saying it, then maybe people who don't visually conform to a gender, they don't feel as stressed out about it, you know, because it can really stress people out. I mean, it used to really stress me out, but I think that it was just like, I was trying so hard to look a certain way that if somebody got it wrong, I was like, ugh, this sucks. But when I think that, you know, when you feel a bit more comfortable with yourself, you realise that people just kind of, everyone's grown up differently. Everybody sees you a certain way, and they just think that like, this is what I should pronoun you, which is fair enough. Like, I see people all the time, I go, like, my brain will just jump to a pronoun. So even I do it. I'm like, it's okay. I think it's okay to just like have, you presume that somebody is something, but I don't think it's okay to be like, you realise you're wrong, or they tell you that it's wrong, and then to like continue that. So the best thing to do really is go like, so I would go, hey, my name is Sam. I use they pronouns and he pronouns. What's your pronouns? And then,
Hi, I'm Maggie. My pronouns are she, her.
awesome.
Nice. I'm Melanie, and I'm she, her.
Cool.
But also, I like, for fashion wise, I know we were talking about fashion and everything. Like, I always have this subject. Well, I talk to the boys about this a lot, like about they, them pronouns, and not identifying as like a boy and a girl, which I feel like you should have this conversation with kids as young as, like, you know, as young as possible, because it's everywhere. Like, do you know what I mean? There are people everywhere in every country that are going through these things, and it's like definitely a subject that should be talked about.
You should talk to your kids about things that have nothing to do with them at the time, because it's good to just, well, like, even if like they don't, you know, a lot of people would say they only actually end up having conversations with their kids about these things when they start to like show that they are gay or whatever. Like,